Hi everyone, this is Debbie from Project 39 Mini Albums. This is the tutorial for the Beautiful Day ZigZag Mini Album Folio. This is part of two different projects I did using the same paper. This one has a hinge system and the ribbon closure. The other one will have the not a hinge system and a magnetic closure. They are both listed, the tutorial, the walkthrough, and how I did these embellishments in the playlist. So we're going to go ahead and do this one again with the hinge system and the ribbon binding. The other thing I wanted to tell you is I usually publish a cutting guide in my description box. I'm not doing that today. I'm just trying to save some time. Grab a pen and paper, and I go over it pretty good detail in the very beginning of the video. So that'll just take you 5 minutes to jot it down. The other fabulous thing I have to tell you is, I don't know if you know, but I live and work in my RV. And right now we are in beautiful Vermont, and it is raining today. So you're going to hear lots of weird noises. The slide out, if you're familiar with RVs, the slide out I'm in, you can hear the rain hitting the roof, and there's some beautiful fir trees right outside my window, and you'll hear them brushing up against it. So I apologize for all that weird noise, but it's just how it goes. So without any further ado, go ahead and get ready and let us do the tutorial. Thanks so much. So I'm just going to show you the basic construction of the book, and then we'll go over the cutting guides and materials and cut list. So it's the covers here are 5 by 8.5. So there's 2 of them. And you can close them with magnets on the inside or with ribbon. If you use magnets, I would keep the front inside cover blank, so that way nothing can go here, or put a flap or something that wouldn't impede the magnets. So it opens up like that, and there are 2 pages attached to this spine, and there are 2 pages attached to this spine, and the pages are pocket pages. And then in the inside, attached to the back cover, which is 5.5 by 8.5, is the Z-fold. And then behind the Z-fold is Z-fold pockets. So let me show you what you'll need to put this together. Let's start with the chipboard. I used medium or heavyweight chipboard, either would work fine. So you will need 2 pieces, 5 by 8.5, 1 piece, 5.5 by 8.5. This is the back cover. These are the 2 flaps. And then you'll need 2 different size pieces for the spines. You'll need 1 by 8.5 and 1 1/4 by 8.5. So that's what you'll need for chipboard. Now let me show you the paper cutting. So this is just using plain 65-pound weight. On my album, I used the Artisan cardstock, which was $6.87. But anyhow, you'll need 2 pieces of 7 by 10.5. These are the cover, the book, the chipboard. You'll need 1 4 by 10.5 and 1 4 1/4 by 10.5. And you'll need 1 7.5 by 10.5. 2 pieces, 8 3/8 by 4. This is going to cover the spine. And for the hinge, you'll need 2 pieces, 6 by 8, 1 for each side. Now I am going to do a second tutorial without a hinge, so if you wanted to do without a hinge, something easy, check out that tutorial. For the front inside pocket, if you're going to do that, if you're going to put a front inside pocket, 1 piece, 2.5 by 5 7/8. and you'll need one 4 3/4 by 5 7/8. For the back flap, you'll need one piece 4 7/8 by 5 1/2, and for the back inside pocket, 5 by 5 7/8. Now to make the Z fold, you'll need 3 different pieces. You'll need 4, but one is 8 1/2 by 5 3/4, and then 3 of them are 8 1/2 by 5 1/2. And to make the pages, you'll need 4 cut 8 by 5, and you'll need 4 cut 9 by 5. And for the back cover, on the very back, there are the Z fold pockets. So you'll need 3 pieces, 3 1/2 by 6 1/4. And then you'll need additional cardstock for photo mats or tags or whatever you want to use to embellish it. I'm going to take a piece of score tape, peel it off, place it very carefully against the edge of the chipboard, and I'm going to just use my X-Acto to trim off the excess. To burnish that real well. Anytime you're using score tape, make sure you burnish so there's no air pockets. And that's a good idea to make sure your hands are clean. You don't want lotion to get on the sticky part of your score tape and keep it from adhering real well. Okay, so there's one. Now I'm going to grab my scoreboard, and I'm going to grab, this one is the 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, so I will grab the larger page, the 7 1/2 by 10 1/2. And put it on my scoreboard so it's nice and straight. And then I know I've showed you this before, but Country Craft Creation sells some acetate, thick plastic shims that are really pretty and colorful. I'm going to make sure this is lined up to the side and to the top. And then I will peel off the back of this, which should be easy to do now that we've burnished it real well. And you're just going to push it up against the corner and put it down flat. And there we go. So go ahead and put the other pieces on there. And I'm going to take this and grab a bone folder. I'm going to turn this upside down. So the you'll notice that there is 1 inch around. So when you're covering it, you're going to measure in 2 inches for the cover. The spine's different, but 2 inches, so you have 1 inch all around. And I'm pushing that down so I can see where the chipboard is, and then I'll fold it like this and burnish here and here. Fold like that. Burnish there, unfold that, and do the top and bottom. And then when you unfold that, you'll see there are 4 squares on the corners. Let's just grab scissors and cut those out. You're going to notice the squares stop about, maybe a 1/16 of an inch away from the actual chipboard. Oops. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to take one piece, fold it down, and you'll see there is this little sliver of paper. We're going to cut that off. I'll put the scissors right up against the chipboard and just simply cut it off. You'll see it's just a little teeny piece. So we'll do the 4 sides with the cardstock facing up. And then turn it over so the chipboard's facing up and do it again. So you'll end up with 8 little teeny slices. And then I'm going to grab my liquid adhesive, and I'm using the Art Glitter Designer Dries Clear Adhesive. It's made by the Art Glitter people. It has no glitter in it. So I'm going to put some along the edge of the chipboard and then cover that. Grab my bone folder, push it up against the chipboard, and then fold it down. I'll do that to this side. You might have seen some of my older videos. I cover albums differently. This is a method done by Tamara of Country Craft Creations, and I suggest try it. It's an easy method on how to cover your mini albums. It's part of her lie flat method. Now I don't do the Hinge system the same way she does, but I like this way to cover the books. So try it. And then take your bone folder and just go along the edge of the paper. Okay, and there we have the front or back. Oh, this is the back. So we'll do one of the spines, and I'll show you how that's done. So this is the 1 inch. So you'll need the 4 by 10.5. So the measurement on this is we want 1.5 inches on both sides, 1 inch on the top and bottom. So I'm putting my 1 inch shim there, and I have a 1.5 inch shim for there. And I need to put some tape on here. If I had a 1 inch piece, I would use that, or just I could fill it in with a 1/4 inch, but I'm just going to go like this and add some glue to the center. All right, and again, make sure the paper is pushed up to the front and side. I have the 1.5 inch shim on the side and the 1 inch shim on the top. I'm going to put that down, pull the shims off, turn this over and burnish. And I'll also take this and push it down like I did with the cover. And This is going to be a little different. It's not going to be done the same way as the cover, so follow along. So there are two different methods of doing this. This is the old method. So we're going to cut across the diagonal on here. Now on the new method, we're going to cut the, in this case, rectangles out, same as we did with the other one. You can decide which way you want to do it. I would be consistent and do the same. Don't do both like I'm doing. Be the same. So here, we're just going to glue. Oh, before I glue, I'm going to snip off that little piece. Now I'm going to glue that down. Okay, so that's one method. And you're going to cover this. We're going to have a piece to cover it. But another way of doing it is to leave that, the triangular pieces. Grab your bone folder, push up against the chipboard edge, push that down, and then go ahead and pause the video and finish the other two covers and the other spine, and then we'll put them all together. Okay, now that we've got the covers and the spines covered, we're going to put the book together, and I want to show you real quick how it's going to be put together. So you're going to start from left to right, the 5 by 8.5, then the 1 1/4, then the 5 1/2, then the 1, then the other 5. So make sure you get it in that order. I think the important thing to know is the 1 1/2 piece goes in between the two covers and on the left side, and the 1-inch piece goes on the right side. The 5 1/2 goes in the center because the book is 5 1/2. The flaps for the covers are smaller. Okay, so let's put it together. I use my scoreboard to make sure everything is aligned. So it's going to go, we're going to put it together like this. I'm going to grab some score tape and put some. Now I don't want to put it right next to where the chipboard spine is. I'm probably 1/4 inch away. And I'm also going to use liquid adhesive. You could use one, you could use both. Use what you prefer. All right, I'm going to peel off one side of that. Grab my liquid adhesive, and I'm going to put it so it's 3/16 of an inch from the actual chipboard on the other side, and then put some over here. I'm using the scoreboard to line it up. I'm going to line it up and push it like that. Okay. All right, so we have the 5, the 1 1/4. Now we need the 5 1/2. Peel that off. All right, I'm going to line it up. pull that over. Push it down, and then go on this side and just push it down real good. All right, now we need the 1-inch piece to go over here. So I'm going to turn it over, add my tape. So I'm lining that up to the top. This, of course, the whole thing won't fit, so I'm just moving it over. And then finally the last piece. All right, then we're going to work this a little bit, just burnish real well. You'll notice it's a little bit wobbly, and that's okay. We're going to straighten it up. So we'll take the 8 3/8 piece. You actually could cut it, instead of 8 3/8, 8 7/16, just so there's just the slightest margin on it. And you could either use glue or adhesive. I'm going to use this score tape sheet. Put that on, burnish real well, make sure that it will get into the fold. And I'm going to add a little bit of glue because the score tape didn't go to the very edge. And we'll do the same with the other side. Okay, and then if you decide you're going to put magnets, put the magnets on now. I would use 2 or 3, even 3 sets of the larger basic gray magnets. So there we are. We're all set with the cover of the book. Now we'll go ahead and make the hinges. All right, we're going to do the hinge system. If you've not done hinges before, this is a great one to start with because there's only 2 hinges on each side. So go and put the long side to the side, the short side to the top, and you're going to score at 2, 2 1/2, 3, 3 3/8, 3 7/8, and 4 3/8. So basically you've got 2 1/2-inch pieces as a set. You have 2 sets, and those are the hinge. This is the gusset. This is, I'll call it the wing. So with the indented side facing up, you've got the bumpy side on the bottom. We're going to take 1/4-inch score tape and put the 1/4-inch score tape, both of the hinges butting up against each other. So I'll show you how. We'll put it right here, right up to the score line, but not over the score line. So do another one facing that, and do it on the other 1/2-inch set. I'm just going to trim that off. Okay, and let's go ahead and burnish that real well. All right, now we'll turn it over. And now we've got the bumpy side facing up. And we're going to take the 3/8 score tape and we're going to put it on the gusset. So that's that 1/3 piece in the center. And then we're going to put one on each of the hinges because we're going to try to glue the hinges together with the tape. So we'll put one facing that one, and I'll put one on the bottom of the other hinge. And then I want to have some on the wings to hold it down in the album. So I'm going to put some on one side of the last hinge and on the other side. Yeah, I probably should have gone up to there, but that's okay. All right, now flip it over again. And so where you've got these two pieces of score tape against each other, you're going to fold right in the center of those two. So there we go, there's one, and burnish it real well. And then find the other one and burnish again. Those are the two hinges. All right, now take it and lay it flat with those hinges up. Now I'm going to manipulate the paper to make a mountain with those hinges. So I'm just going to pull it with my fingers, hold it down with my thumbs, and then grab where those two are and pinch it together. And then take it and fold it back and forth. It's not glued together, we're just training the paper. So we'll do that with the other one. So I'm going to pull the paper at the bottom. It's scored, so it shouldn't be too difficult to fold. So what you've got is the two hinges. So there's the side view. I'm going to turn this over and I'm going to peel off the backing of the tape that's in that set. So you've got a mountain. We're going to pull out the tape that's in each of the mountains. And then I'm going to gently turn it upside down. You don't want to flatten it because it'll stick to your surface. And then just take and pinch again these two hinges. And now they'll stay like that. So now I'm going to burnish those down. Fold it the other way and burnish. So do that a couple of times. And then grab your scissors, and I want you to trim. Let me find a good corner for you. All right, so you see this, the tape? You're going to just cut it right there, just up to the bottom of the tape. And do that, so you do it on both hinges, top and bottom. Okay, now we're going to do the other hinge, and I'm going to do it on camera, but I'm just going to do it in fast motion. Okay, now grab your book and both hinges are going to go on your spine piece. Just center them. I eyeballed it first. Now I'm going to peel off the backing. just center it. Pushing down the center with my fingers, moving the hinge to one side and push down there. Move both hinges to the other side, push down there. Now it's still up on there. I haven't glued those sides down. Before I do that, I'm going to make sure that it will fold where the book folds, so I'm going to burnish that real well. Then I'm going to grab some liquid adhesive. You could have used score tape if you wanted. Push that down and burnish real well. Make sure it'll fold. But just let it rest. And then we'll do the other one. I'm going to figure out where it's going to go. So you center it side to side and top to bottom. Okay, and when those are done, just put this aside, let it lie flat so it dries, and let's move on to the pages. So for the pages, you're going to have 4 that are 9 by 5 and 4 that are 8 by 5. Put the 8 by 5 aside for a second, grab your scoreboard and the 9 by 5 pages, and we're going to take and put the long side at the top and score at half an inch. Oops, half an inch, and 8.5. So do that to the rest of the pieces. And grab your scissors, and you're going to just trim the corners here. Going to miter each corner from where the score mark is on all 4 corners on all 4 pieces. And take the paper and burnish on the 2 score marks on all 4 pieces. All right, and then you're going to grab the 8 by 5 pages, and what I do is I usually tuck it in under the flap, and it's going to be a little big because when you fold it, it takes away some. So tuck it at the bottom, make sure it's even on the side, pull one side out, grab my glue. You can use liquid adhesive, you could use score tape, and then just fold that down, making sure the edge is still straight. And I'll fold that up. So go ahead and do that to all 4 pieces. So now you have 4 pages. Basically, they're just tubes. And if your hinge system is dry, then let's go ahead and peel off the backing. Well, first let's dry fit it. Let's just make sure it fits. If you feel like it doesn't, you can trim a little more. This one's a little tight, so I'm going to trim a little more. We're not going to go past that top 1/4 inch piece. And something optional you might want to do is grab your glue and put some at the very top on the top of the hinge. So that way, once you put this down, and when you put it down, make sure it's even. And then burnish it. And you'll burnish that glue, and that will seal up your little tube. So let's do that for all 4 pages. Okay, let's work on the Z-fold. All right, for the Z-fold part, you've got 3 pieces 8.5 by 5.5 and 1 piece 8.5 by 5 3/4. Let's take the 8.5 by 5 3/4 with the short side at the top, score at 1 inch and at 3/4. The 8.5 by 5.5, score those all at 1/2 inch. All right, let's just miter the corners of these pages. And when you miter the corner of the one with the 2 folds, you go up to the 1/2 inch. All right, and let's burnish these folds. All right, we're going to put some glue on the 1/2 inch tab and line this one up. Line the one with the 1/2 and 3/4 inch score just about to the score mark on the other one. And we'll do that for the next one as well. And the next one as well. All right, and let's just fold it and burnish. All right, now you need to grab something straight that's as long as the paper. So I don't have a T-square or anything really long, so I'm going to use a tape measure. I'm going to open it up and lock it in place. So what we want to do is, I'm going to take my ruler and go from the bottom of the page and mark it on the second score line at 8 inches. And then I'm going to go from the bottom of this paper on this side and mark it at 5 inches, just on the very end. And you're going to take whatever straight edge you have. I'm going to turn this upside down and mark on the paper from one of your tick marks to the other and draw a line. And if you want, you can take an X-Acto and cut that. I'm just going to grab my scissors and cut it very straight. All right. Keep this. Don't throw this out. You'll use this later. Now fold it. I'm going to erase this here so it doesn't show when I put the paper on. And we're going to burnish where the 1/2 inches and the 3/4. And making sure you put it on correct with the 1 inch piece to the right and the 1 1/4 to the left. You're going to add glue to this 1/2 inch tab and put it 1/16 of an inch away from where the fold is. And I would line it up even with the bottom of the pages. I'm flattening it out and I'll burnish it, and then I'll open this up and burnish right here. All right, so there we have the Z fold, and then we're going to make the Z fold inner pockets. They are 3.5 by 6 1/4, and on 2 of them you're just going to score 1/2 inch on both sides. I'm just going to rotate it. And then one you'll score 1/2 inch on 2 short sides and 1/2 inch on 1 long side. Okay, before you miter the corners, you can do this putting them all together. Take your Z-fold template that we have now, line it up on the side and bottom, and again draw a line. Now you can do it individually or do all 3 at once. This paper isn't that heavy, so I can cut all 3 at once. You may need those. All right, and then let's go ahead and miter the corners. So on one you're going to have the crisscross of where the bottom was scored and the top. And then you're going to have the 4 sides on the other 2 pieces. If you want, you can cover this with a piece of either the base color cardstock, so that would be 5 1/4 by 8 3/8, or a piece of your designer paper, your scrapbook paper, or just leave it, and when you're done you'll tuck a piece of the designer paper inside. So I'm taking the piece that's got the 3 score lines on it. I'll fold and burnish. And I'm just going to put some glue on the very bottom flap, just the bottom, and center that on this page. I'm going to go to the bottom of the page. Center it between the 2 folds, the fold of your Z fold and the fold of the spine. So I'll put that in, burnish it real well. All right, then I'm going to take one of the Z folds, fold and burnish the sides, and just lay it there. You're going to turn it the other way. So you've got one Z going top on the left-hand side, low on the right. So on this one, you're going to go low on the left-hand side, high on the right. And then the other one, you're going to go high on the right, low on the left. No, the other way. So just place them, space it evenly. Figure out exactly where they're going to go. And then I'm going to just take this, fold it, make sure it's flat. I'll lift up this side, put some glue down here, fold that piece so the edges are this lining up. You have more of an edge on the left than you do on the right. Now that I know that's there, we'll do the same with this one. We'll just open this all the way. Line that up. And then add glue to this whole, both sides here. And then gently fold it up, push it down, and burnish. And there you go. There you've got the Z-fold pockets. Let me grab another. Well, so you can see. All right. That is it for now until you decorate. So now when you decorate, oh, I guess we need to do the front and the bottom, or front and back. Let's do that. So back inside pocket, we have 5 by 5 and 7/8. You're going to score on 3 sides, the 2 short sides and 1 long side. And miter all 4 corners. And then you have a back flap, miter the top. You'll score on the top, which is the 4 7/8 side. Put that on the side. 5 1/2 will be at the top. Score 1/2 inch. I'm going to fold and burnish. And again, if you want, before you do this, you can cover this with either cardstock or designer paper. So I'm going to put that closer to the edge of the book, so closer to the right side than the left. You want to make sure there's room for the book to close. And the back flap, I'm going to burnish. And I am taking a corner rounder and rounding the corners. You can use a magnet closure on here. I just like to round the corner so you know that that's a flap. And I'm going to make sure it's even with the paper and go close to the very top and put that on. And then the top. So 4 3/4 by 5 7/8 score on 2 short sides, 1 long side, and a 2 1/2 by 5 7/8 score on the 2 short sides, all at 1/2 inch. Miter the corners. And again, if you're going to use magnets to hold this together, I would not put anything on the inside cover. So again, I'm going to put the glue on the bottom pocket, put that pocket on, have it closer to the left side than the right, because you don't want to get in the way of the book opening and closing. And then this is going to go here. Turn it that way. We'll just add a little glue there. Line this up. I'm going to have about an inch showing. And then add glue to all these tabs. And burnish. And there you go. Okay, now when it comes to decorating the pages, you can have pockets if you want. Don't forget you'll need photo mat for inside. And when it comes to decorating the Z-fold, use this Z-fold that you have and we'll cut it. So I'm going to start with the small part. I'm going to cut at the just cut at the score lines. You're going to first put your decorator paper on, and then if you want a little pocket, you can just glue this down on 3 sides. I put the paper down first, then glue the decorated paper onto the pocket and put it down. The reason we're doing that instead of adding tabs to 3 sides is just so the book doesn't get too chunky. But you could, if you wanted to, you could measure it, use this as a template for how the diagonal is going to go. But I'm just going to use these as little pockets. I'll just cut them out and we're good to go. Hi again. So I meant to show you how I put on the ribbon closure, but unfortunately I decorated this and forgot to record it. But it's simple enough. You're going to put it on the base album before you put on any cover paper. You'll put the ribbon on. It goes to about here, so about 2-3 inches. And then you put on whatever paper you're going to cover the front with. And you'll also put it on the spine before you put the paper you're going to decorate that. Just use some really good glue or double-sided tape or something really strong, and then cover it as usual. And that's all you have to do to add the ribbon to the book before you finish it. So that's what I have for you. Now there's going to be another segment making the same album, but instead of having a hinge, we're going to do a hingeless mini album. So if you want to check that out, it'll be listed in the description box. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day.